at the renovation house with some really bad lighting. Going to give you a little update coming up. I'm Roger, and not in the shop, but at the renovation house. I'm going to give you a little bit of an update. It's been a while since we posted a video because we got all these things going on and everything is just crazy. So what do? Well, you do the right thing and you go to Mexico for a week, and that's what we did. Went down into the South Caribbean and, well, not really that much south, but quite a bit south from us. Playa del Carmen, Mexico. Spent a week at a condo down there, walking on the beach, and drinking a little bit too much tequila, like this. But at any rate, we're back. We're going to get going here in the renovation house. Again, I want to give you a little bit of an update on some of the things we found, and a little bit more of the demolition that's going on and what's going to be coming up in the very near future. So I'll grab the camera here and we'll take a little walk around. Okay, one of the first little interesting things I'll show you here is we have this switch and 3 outlets. This is what they call a Despard switch and outlets, something very popular from the late 40s into the probably late 60s, where you can put several different devices on a strap. And when I take this out, I'll give you a little bit more of a description on how that works. They don't make these anymore. I think you possibly can get replacement parts if you're looking at some really old-time hardware store, but for the most part, they don't make this stuff. But anyway, I always wondered what the switch did. It didn't operate the kitchen light here at all. This is in the kitchen. Well, what we found out after playing with it was when you did turn it on, or move the switch, I should say, it took power out to the garage outside. So that's out there through this very dirty window. And there's a switch out there. So did a little investigating out there, and it's a 3-way switch. Now here's the kicker. A 3-way switch requires 3 wires. There's only 2 wires running between the house and the garage out there, and well, you can kind of see a little bit down there by the very bottom of the door on the right hand side. You can see the cable sticking out of the ground. That's a 2-wire. So, but we have a working 3-way switch. Okay, well, how does that work? That's what's called a Missouri 3-way or California 3-way, depending on where you're from. And it is possible to do that. It's not legal. It's very dangerous, and I'm not going to tell you how it's done, but it can be done, and that's going to get corrected. So that's latest little electrical thing. Now we'll go on to another little interesting electrical item I found. Okay, so we tore out a cabinet that was over here in the corner out in what's going to be the laundry room. And what you see there is the original wall sheeting. But that outlet there is just kind of cut into the wood. As you can see there, just a hole in the wood. And yes, that is live. So that was buried behind a cabinet, but that's kind of what they did back in the old days, so to speak. And we made another discovery. At least I found this one the hard way, and hopefully the camera will focus on this. Right up here, I'll pull that down possibly. Now you can see a little better. There's 2 wires right there that were cut off and left, and yes, those, well, they're not live anymore, but they were live at the time. The old knob and tube, somebody just abandoned it, but they didn't even bother to tape it. So I actually found that one the hard way. Okay, the next little update is the 2 windows that were between the dining room and what's going to be the laundry room. I've removed those. We've got that wall studded up and wired, and it's ready for sheetrock. Actually, it was pretty straightforward. The only thing was there's 6 studs there, and no 2 of them are the same length. Everyone's a different length. So that opening, you kind of see at the top, it's got a slope to it. So I'm going to do a little sheetrock trimming before I close that back up to make taping a little easier. We also added a switch right here, a 4-way switch for the dining room here. That didn't have one before. And a couple outlets. Okay, and getting back into the demolition side of things, this is in the bathroom, and I know the lighting is not very good in here, but the floor was totally rotted out underneath the shower pan, and I didn't really need any tools to tear out most of this floor. We also found that besides the sewer not being vented correctly for the vanity, the riser for that wasn't even glued in the pipe. It was just stuck in there. So we're going to end up tearing this entire floor out all the way back. Of course, I'm going to have to take this out. That's the only one in the house. So we're going to be without a bathroom here for quite a while. Okay, and my next step in the demolition, this is going to happen tomorrow, is this door, exterior door and these two windows. This is what's going to be the laundry room. They're going to come out completely, and we're going to stud that wall shut and hopefully straighten the wall up. I don't know if I can get a good focus with the sun shining in the windows here, but if you look at the top of the windows, how you like that for slope? Things aren't exactly straight here, but we're going to stud this up and we'll get that fixed. This originally was a porch, and on the floor down here, I mentioned this in one of my previous videos, there's a slope where it slopes from the inside of the house out. We're going to level that up, make it a little bit easier to be setting the washer and dryer in here. And of course we'll be doing all new plumbing and electrical over here too, getting rid of this hodgepodge of stuff that's there. Okay, and then moving down towards the basement, show you a couple things we found. We're going to be stripping all this and putting sheetrock on the wall. The stuff that's here is extremely thin. You see right there, it's not even a 1/4 inch thick. It's kind of like a press board, and there's holes in it all over. And something else that's there is it's one of the locations from the old fuse panel. It's been removed. There was a tag in there and part of an old slate fuse box that I've already torn out. I will show you a picture of that tag. It became very interesting because it was actually installed by the company that I retired from and still work as a consultant for from time to time, but we'll get a picture of that here later. Now we'll head down into the dungeon. Yeah, I've been in the process of tearing out a bunch of the old coax from all the different cable TV operations that were in here and satellite and everything. Got rid of a lot of the junk down here. Been working on getting the new drops put in. As you see, these Romex drops hanging all over the place. And yeah, Chris Fry must still be sexy. It's on the wall. But what I still haven't managed to solve is this problem down here with the water coming through the wall. And is literally just pouring in. We've tried twice with hydraulic cement and both times had failed. But it's a pretty good stream of water that's coming in here constantly. And being right underneath the electric panel, I don't really like that. Kind of give you an idea on how bad that water is. Here I backed up quite a bit, and there's the existing illegal electrical panel. The new one's going to go right to the left of it there, and that's still not really putting it on high ground. So I've definitely got to do something about that water leak and get that dried up over here. I've also been in the process of removing a whole bunch of old galvanized plumbing. I've been throwing it on this old workbench down here as I take it out, and it didn't really go to anything. It just ran here and there and was capped off and plugged, and so we got all that tore out. Even the plumbing inspector here got a big chuckle out of it, all this do-nothing plumbing that was down here. And we also have some do-nothing gas pipe I got to get tore out yet. Okay, the lighting's not too good down here, but what I'm showing you here is where the toilet is mounted. And as you can see, most of that wood is rotted. If it wasn't for the fact that it was so close to a floor joist, I think if somebody heavy sat on the stool, they'd end up in the basement down here. So, of course, this will all get tore out and fixed. And someone has already put sisters on these joists. If you don't know what that is, a sister joist, make a back up here where you can see one a little better, is another joist that is put alongside an existing one to strengthen things. And I'm going to have to be replacing a few of those. This one here has been cut for the shower drain, and you're not really supposed to do that. And that pipe going out the wall, I don't really know what's up with that. It's an old cast iron. It's plugged on the outside. We're going to bust that off of there and get rid of that. But as you can see, spider webs included down here. This is the view from the basement looking up into the bathroom. So we've got quite a few things to fix up here. The sister joist that was put over there by where the vanity is didn't even go all the way to the wall. So we'll probably put a new one on the other side. Probably get that drain put up in the wall where it belongs and get it vented correctly. Same with the shower, there's no vent on it. Okay, and this is looking back where if you saw one of the previous videos where you saw that menagerie of plumbing that didn't go anywhere, that's all been removed. Still got a lot of old wire hanging all over the place, and yeah, that old fuse box got to come out. It's not connected to anything anymore. I've got that all disconnected and the stuff bypassed. Got a lot of work to do down here yet, including getting the new water heater in. Got the concrete slab poured for it down here to get it elevated off the floor in case we can't get this basement completely dried up. Okay, moving on with the demolition. Here's a little something else that we found. That piece of OSB you see screwed on the wall covers up the old dryer vent. Found an old window that had been boarded up. Well, what I also found was something not so good. I can get over here and zoom in on this a little bit. The sill behind this stoop under this door is completely rotted away. I mean, all the way to the inside. So the entire sill, all 14 foot of it. Over here we got a couple holes that aren't needed, of course. Over here on the other side, you can actually see right into the basement. So this whole sill is going to have to be replaced. I hadn't planned on having to do that. So it's going to be quite a challenge getting all this done in one day and then trying to get around this door. But that's one of the joys of when you've got one of these old houses. And since it was built out of leftovers from, I shouldn't say it was recycled from an older building, which I'll get into in another video of what I've found. A lot of the wood in here is from the 1800s. And I'll get into that full explanation in another video. But got quite a project ahead of me tomorrow and try to get all this done in one day by myself. Well, here's something a little different. Obviously I had a mouse nest down here in this pocket, and I guess the post was too short, so let's just throw some 2x underneath it. And the joist was too short, so let's just throw some 2x and maybe some shims underneath it. But in this mouse nest was a bunch of rocks. Haven't figured that out yet. Never seen a mouse collect rocks before. Something curious about after opening up this wall is this here. There's an opening that is held together with some like screen door hooks and eyes. And I'm not going to open this because I don't need anything else open to the outside. Also already got gap there and gap up there, gap over there, gaps between these boards. Of course, it's not going to get all that cold tonight, and tomorrow I'll be replacing all this. Well, I thought this was kind of interesting. I'll get into this tomorrow and find out exactly what this little magic door was for. This was inside a wall. And as you can see, when they studded this wall, it was like, let's just use whatever's laying around. That there looks like it was part of an old window or storm door. Yeah, it's some fun stuff of getting into an old house. So there's a little bit of the latest update of what's been going on here at the renovation house. Dressed for cold weather here, I'm going to be going outside and stripping the aluminum siding off of the wood siding that's on this wall that I'm going to tear out and replace tomorrow. We're supposed to have weather in the lower 40s, which is great because I don't want to try to do that when it's like 0 outside or the wind blowing or something. Got to do a few things inside here with some sheets of plastic to seal things up so we don't have wind blowing through the house for 8 hours. Don't need that. And try to keep some of the dust confined to the major construction areas and keep it out of the living room, dining room, bedrooms up front, which are, a couple of them have actually been painted, so kind of getting those ready to be livable. They've all been rewired. I still have to add some smoke detectors, but which brings up another point. This was a rental house. There's not a single smoke detector in this house. And I really can't figure out how they got away with that because the county here inspects all the rental houses. That's if you have a house that is being rented out or using as an income property, it's required that the house be inspected by the housing authority. So I'm really surprised that this doesn't have any in it. And I will be putting those in, and they will be hardwired with battery backup. But that's the subject of another video. Otherwise, if you got something out of this, appreciate getting a thumbs up. Of course, we're always looking for subscribers. And this is going to be an ongoing project that's going to run well into next year with everything we're going to do. And we'll take you along for the ride. Otherwise, I'm Roger at the Renovation House. See you on the next one.